what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to go over in a short amount of time. Today, we're going to go over all of the current events and everything that's happening around the world. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. I can't say thank you enough. Losing their day on mine. People buying iodine and losing their day on mine. People buying iodine and losing their day on mine. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, today we're going to get into a lot of stuff, and if you want the sources for anything that we're covering here today, it's going to be available over on marfooglenews.com. Now, when you go over there, not only can you sign up for our email alerts, which we use sparingly. Again, those are used in, that was originally for if we had some sort of knowledge that basically predicted of something, and we 100% knew something was going to happen, we would use that system. Also, you can also go to that same website and get notifications directly through Chrome, so make sure to hit that up. On top of that, on the website, you'll see it's very easy to navigate. It is done by thumbnail. Europe buying iodine by the millions. When you click on that, you will see that you have every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we are going to show you here today is all going to be over there. That means you have a source and a bibliography for every single thing we show you. Now, even if we have a guest on or anything else, all of their information will be on that page. Every day has a page, and every day is archived with all of the stories that we have talked about. That means it's also searchable, so up in the right-hand corner, if you remember a show from a year ago where I talked about Bigfoot, you type in Bigfoot up there, that show will most likely pop up. In fact, all of the shows where we have talked about Bigfoot or UFOs or, you know, whatever it may be, it will all pop up there. So make sure to go over and use the search bar on that. And then on the bottom of the page, every time you hit that yellow bar, that is web-only content. That is essentially the stuff that could not fit in the show. That is a great reference for all sorts of stuff that we could not get in. Again, there is tons of stuff that is too hot for TV, so make sure to go check it out. It's an entire other show down there. Again, we can only cover so much in a 2-hour period. And then let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So we were gonna check on something. Is that correct? We were gonna see if DLive was
it's working.
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
everything is good at the moment.
So disregard the tweet. It was having a problem saving things on DLive, so we didn't know if it was going to go live there or not. So welcome our DLive crew. Scary Mary, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Mafia. Sherna Thomas, welcome, and thank you for subscribing 7 minutes ago. 8 minutes ago, Bill Billingsley. I think I've heard of you before, so maybe you resubscribed. But either way, welcome, and thank you for joining. And then Helen Miller, I don't think I got you yesterday, but thank you so much for your support. Nana of Montana says, way to go, Foogle fam, and thank you for your massive support yesterday. Many people yesterday, thank you for popping in and saying hi and stopping in. All right, let's get right into it. We have a ton to cover. It is, of course, a news only, so we're going to go over a lot of stuff. So just stay tuned. Usually the first few are going to be kind of softballs. we get into the crazier stuff later, I will warn you when it gets into the stuff where it's going to make you either anxious or scared. That way, if you don't want to watch a scary movie, which is the world right now, you can tune out at that point. California to ban the sale of new gasoline cars. First of all, I live in Washington, which also has something very similar to this, and this is getting to the point where obviously they are changing the whole way that we run our planet. Dex, first of all, for them to ban the actual sale of new gasoline cars, this is something that's not just going to be, I don't think this is just going to be in a few states. I think that this is something that the world is going to be pushing here soon. Now, of course, this is a big deal. What do you think about them doing this?
Well, it's interesting. It's not just that the state is doing it, but we just recently had Dodge come out and said that they're getting rid of, I don't know if it was Dodge or one of the other ones. I'm pretty sure it was Dodge. One of them said they're going all electric with their muscle cars. So there will be no more gas-powered muscle cars. So from a sports car perspective, maybe all of them are going to probably do it. I think they all are pushing down that path, even from the manufacturers. But from the state pushing this, obviously they have a lot of laws in California. Like a lot of times you'll see cars that have certain emissions. They're California approved, where that same car might be set up differently if it's not meant for California. Or, you'll see it even with lawnmowers and other things, right? They have different restrictions on them that are only applied to the state of California. So yeah, they have a lot of pull because there's a huge population. It's a huge revenue opportunity, I guess, for these companies that sell products. So just like they do special things for other states, or in some cases other countries like G's, I have a feeling that if they make these laws, then you're going to see the automobile manufacturers sort of fall in line and make options that are only available for California.
Okay. So one thing that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about is how in the future, if we are completely dependent on electric vehicles, that also means that will be our weakness. If somebody, and by the way, all of these vehicles all of them have, of course, internet connectivity. They are all set up, which by the way, this all fits in. I want to go back to a previous story where the president and other people were talking about how they want to stop DUIs. They want to stop drunk driving. And a way to do that is to basically require manufacturers to put something in the vehicle that can tell if the driver is impaired. It sounds great in theory. It sounds like, hey, we'll go down to 0 accidents or 0 drunk driving accidents. Pretty much everyone that I know, I'm pretty sure almost everyone here has lost someone to either drunk driving or a victim of being hit by something, or at least somebody who has been injured by something like this. I personally have been hit by somebody, but I didn't die. And I have personally lost family members that have died in drunk driving accidents. Some of them were the perpetrator. So this is a big deal. But again, that fits into this because when you have all electric vehicles, they're all connected and they have the ability remotely to stop that vehicle. That also means there will be vulnerabilities, and this will be like a rolling computer that can be hacked. That means that if, say, the people above us, just say one person or two person or a small group of families somehow gets in charge, which, we already know, somebody like a German from the 40s gets in charge, then all of a sudden they can say that we're not supposed to drive and they turn off all of the vehicles. Now, this sounds crazy now, but in the future when we are, and we're not talking about far ahead, we're talking about in 10 years or, a little bit over a decade, we are talking about having all electrical vehicles. Now, they're saying this is because of, obviously the great change, but they are also putting in there that, there's other things that play into this. Think about that. If the people above us can be able to control our transportation and where we travel and how we travel, that is something that is a major milestone in control. I personally think that this is a huge deal, and it's just going to go kind of by the wayside, and most people aren't going to care. They're going to say, "Oh, great." I think it is pretty sweet. I mean, think about a Dodge Demon all electric that drives like a Tesla and goes 400 miles an hour or something. Yeah, that's cool. But at the same time, if you can hack that Dodge Demon, that's pretty scary. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Just to put in there, it says California on Thursday is expected to put into effect its sweeping plan to prohibit the sale of new gasoline-powered cars by 2035. That sounds far away, but look at how, I mean, if you remember the year 2000, it doesn't seem like it's that long ago. In fact, if you remember September of 2001, it doesn't seem like it's over 20 years ago. It says a groundbreaking move that could have major effects on the effort to fight the great change and accelerate a global transition towards electric vehicles. So if you're invested in places like Tesla or in other, electric vehicle or electric batteries, you're going to be saying happy days. But I don't know if you're going to be able to cash any of those stocks out when it all starts collapsing. But that's just my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. And then future criminals could be monitored by chips in their brains. People think this is sci-fi. People think that this is, out of a movie. This is not. This is where this whole thing with Neuralink is going, and that's my opinion. It says criminals could be tracked and controlled via brain chip monitoring in the future, according to neurotechnology law experts. It says legal theorists are preparing for a future with widespread use of brain chips and augmented humans. Neurotechnology is the field of outfitting electronic devices and integration with the nervous system. This seems so far out, but it is here. Look at what Elon is doing. Look at what all of these, and by the way, I have said before, I was really surprised to find out that there are over a dozen competitors to Elon, and they're all getting contracts, and they're all working on brain interfaces. We're talking about actual thinking about something, and it's duck, duck, go'd in an instant. Of course, I'm probably assuming they will automatically, they'll say with the new brain chip, 2024, it will automatically come installed with Google. But who knows? It will be like a cell phone that you purchase and you have to upgrade your hardware every single year or you'll fall behind. You're not searching the internet inside your head as fast as the next guy, and that means you might not get the job. It says, wargaming, the possibilities of neurotechnology impacting the law. Dr. Alan McKay theorized that the courts could force criminals to adopt microchips for monitoring or controlling behavior in a report for the Law Society. It says the political conditions might emerge for seeing neurotechnology as a broader solution to crime might come into place. It's worse than a Minority Report type thing. This is brain chips inserted in people's brains. Is there anyone at this point that thinks that this just will not happen? I guess the only way that this wouldn't happen is if something worse happens that totally screws up our planet. As far as brain chips, think about the bracelet that people wear on probation, like many of our politicians probably have. But think about that bracelet, and then think about now it would be a requirement. They would have to sign away their rights and then also get a chip implanted so they would be tracked and traced everywhere they go. Dex, go ahead.
Well, take it a step further from tracking and tracing. Like what they're suggesting in some scenarios here is that if you say commit a certain type of crime that may coincide with mental type things, like you abuse certain things, right? That you would then agree to take a chip that would fix that, and if you put that chip in, then they would say, okay, that's part of your, part of your release. So we'll put that chip in, we'll change your brain and how you think, so you don't think to be wrong, and whatever wrong was for that particular crime, and we'll send you back out into society.
Yeah, as far as like saying, if you're angry, we have a chip that could fix that, or if you're this, we have a chip that could fix that. There was another movie that just came out about an island prison that was doing all these experiments on injectable kind of stuff that would, what was that called? Dex, you probably haven't seen it. I was going to send it to you because I thought, man, this is so, predictive programming. It had the guy that plays Thor. It had whatever it's not Chris Pine. It's the other guy, the guy who plays the Marvel Thor. He plays a owner of a prison system, and in this prison on an island, essentially they have a a drug that makes everyone obey their every order. But they don't know that, and they also, have all of these other things, like one that is injected and makes you happy or makes you terrified or makes you sad. This is something that I think will exist, but it won't be something that, goes in your bloodstream. It will be something that is directly connected to your brain and the different parts of your brain that control all of those things. That is my theory. What is yours? Let me know in the comments down below. By the way, again, thank you to Helen Miller. Thank you, Joseph Newhouse, Pat W., and everybody else that just popped in. I'm glad that DLive started working there. Glad that we didn't have to miss out on that. Vicky K, Kimbria, Chewy Weather, Living Dead Goat. That's a name. Light of Vibes, thank you. And thank you for getting a badge. And appreciate for gifting that to Light of Vibes. Dex, go ahead.
Was that Spiderhead?
Spiderhead, yes.
Chris Hemsworth?
Yes, if you guys haven't seen
Netflix.
Spiderhead, I don't know what kind of bad symbolism is in that movie, but I will say this. That looks like predictive programming of something that very well could happen. And it's not something that... it's not something that's too unbelievable. In fact, it's very believable considering what they are doing with pharmaceuticals and what they're doing with that they put in people. Yeah. By the way, Pat W says, I found that guy on YouTube. I sent the links to you and Dex's. Okay, so Nan of Montana, thank you again. Appreciate that. And then Pat W, I'll see what that is. And let's see here. Steve Wilkos, you subscribed the other day. I know I recognized the name because obviously there's the Springer Show. That would be funny if that was you. Let's see here. Darren, thank you so much for subscribing just now. Looks like about 4 people just subscribed. Feature Films 3 minutes ago. Thank you so much and welcome to the fam. And then David Padilla, thank you as well. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Marfia. All right, and then hurricane season on the verge of rarely seen August without a named storm. Actually, I didn't even think about that. So normally, almost every year, and especially when we were going through a lot of the stuff with dropping that thing in the box to pick who is president, it was like there was a named storm like, Helena or Hurricane Bob or Hurricane Steve or Hurricane Jill or Jack or whatever it was. And now to think about it, we really haven't seen any of those, right? It is this because there's like an 8-year El Nino cycle or something? But again, it says the hallmark of the 2022 hurricane season so far has been uncharacteristic calmness, and the benign conditions might not change for the remainder of August, forecasters say. It says this could be the 3rd August since 1961 and the 1st August since 97 without a named storm, according to AccuWeather, the independent forecasting service. It says as Wednesday's 30th anniversary of Hurricane Andrew approaches, it's also interesting to note that this season's calm follows 2021, the 3rd most active season with 21 named storms, and 2020 with the most active season with 30 named storms. And this year was the first time in 7 years there wasn't a named storm before June 1st start of hurricane season. So we are in August. We're almost at the end of August. We are 2 months past the first day of hurricane season, and we have not had a single storm. This is weird. I mean, this is very, very odd. This makes me think that something is definitely wrong with our planet, but who knows what's responsible for that? That's my question. And obviously for the last 2 months, we've been going through heat wave after heat wave after heat wave, and flood and drought and all sorts of weird things. We've had a lot of really weird natural events. Dex, go ahead. What do you think about this?
Well, yeah, I had the same feeling too when I read it. I was like, you know what? I realized we should have had something by now. I know it started not too long ago, but it's rare that we go this far without having even a named tropical storm or something. So yeah, it's been a while. I'm kind of curious to see because I was expecting this to be bigger, given all the other extremes we've seen I was kind of expecting to see some extremes coming out of this season, and the season's not over. So let's not, let's knock on wood for now, especially all those folks who live in Florida and along coasts that are affected. So, but yeah, I sort of had to look at the calendar myself and say, yeah, you're right. I haven't heard of anything.
Yeah, usually there's always one that's making the news all over the Weather Channel, all over, CNN, Fox. They've been too busy with, politics. It's kind of crazy to think about. It's odd. There's, of course, storms, mind you, but there's not a named storm.
Maybe those rods are all being used over in G's land, and they're not exporting them right now, that they're shooting into that we reported on already.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. They're on loan. 88 Kortunutsa, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing a few seconds ago. Stephen McMahon, did you guys get the dirty movies I sent you? No, not yet, Stephen McMahon. But we will be looking out for them like this. FG, thank you, and says, God bless you. Appreciate you. Insects could give meaty taste to food and help environment, scientists find. So it's weird this comes out because I just saw something on a gentleman who was doing a walk and talk video. He looks like he was in a tropic kind of environment, and he was saying that there was some sort of abbreviation that it is in bugs and it is not processed by humans. And he was saying that it's something that's bad for you and it can't be processed by us, and that once you put the bugs in. If anybody knows that video, let me know. It says insects can be turned into meat-like flavors, helping provide a more environmentally friendly alternative to traditional meat options, scientists have discovered. Mealworms, the larval form of the yellow mealworm beetle, have been cooked with sugar by researchers who found that the result is a meat-like flavoring that could one day be used on convenience food as a source of protein. So when I first found out that, well, first of all, when I found out hot dogs were like just everything, I was pretty grossed out. When I found out that Jell-O was like, pig hooves and stuff, I never ate Jell-O again. Just like, I know there's some Jell-O fans out there. I would not eat food with this in it, especially when it's from larval. Like, even if they packaged it differently and whatever else, I'm sure they would minimize the advertising on what's in it. But it says startup's bug idea to put cricket tortillas and chips on the menu. It says, well, mealworms have until now mostly been used for snacks for pets or as bait while fishing. They have potential as a food source for humans to help get the recognizable flavors of meat without the harmful impacts upon our weather, right? It says, as well as direct air and water pollution of raising beef, pork, and other animal-based foods. So instead of synthetic, they'll just feed us worms. We're at that point where the people above us are like, well, we'll eat steak, but, they still want the taste. Well, give them worms. See, we're all going to be the lizard in the cages, and they're going to feed us for fun. They're going to go, oh, look at how quickly he grabbed the worm. The early bird gets the nasty meal. Dex?
Well, two things come to mind. One, and I am by no means an expert in the Bible, but it's somewhere in Leviticus that a lot of people have claimed that, or not claimed, but it talks about what you can and can't eat. And one of those is bugs, but it's specific. It's very specific about which type, winged and four legs or something like that. But there's going to be a lot of people that are sort of looking at this, from their belief point of view, and it's going to push against that. It's kind of interesting to see that they're taking this, and like we've seen them take, and push these types of things that change and evolve how we, go about eating, whether it's eating less meat, or in this case, hey, don't worry, we'll make that less meat into something else, but we'll use this thing called bugs that we'll put in there that you're gonna love because it's gonna taste like meat, right? And then the other thing that struck me was that movie, I think it was called Snowpiercer. Do you remember? And they processed those little, bricks of food, and that's what they ate. The peasants in the back of the train, and they were eating these, and it just struck me when I'm thinking about what they're thinking about producing food for the global population and what we're going to be stuck with. It sounds like not a pleasant experience. Yeah. It sounds disgusting. The Snowpiercer, if you haven't seen that movie, that is also a very good movie. When you see the
I guess the teaser for it, it's like, oh, okay, how much could be done on a train? Another one, Train to Busan. There's actually quite a good amount of movies that are done just literally on a train. But Snowpiercer is essentially the world has ended and it's covered. The world is covered in ice and it's all snowy. And the train, to keep warm, has to just keep going the entire time. So it just keeps going on the track at hundreds of miles per hour. And they all live on the train. And then the train cars are divided into classes. So the very poorest peasants are on the very back, and they do the grunt work and the disgusting stuff. They're all dirty. Meanwhile, the upper class is in the front with, beautiful food and settings and beautiful rooms and yeah, it's kind of, it means a whole lot more than just what's there. There's a lot of undertones there. Great movie if you haven't seen it. All right, moving on. I do want to tell you guys right now, obviously, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. If you're new here, I would highly recommend looking into this. So if you have ever heard of an EMP or an electromagnetic pulse strike, that is something that has been warned for now 4 years by the DHS, since they told us that every single American should have 6 months to a year of food because of the level of threat there is to the United States. As far as EMPs and solar storms, this device is actually going to protect you against both. Now, they make different EMP shields for different things. The most popular version is for your car, which can be put in about 10 minutes. That is going to ground the signal and send the signal from an EMP or a Carrington level event or a solar flare or CME in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your car. They also make one for your RVs, your motorcycles, your boats, and all of your transportation, but they also make one that if you are bugging in, you can actually wire into your house and it will protect a certain amount of feet away from it inside your house. So anything plugged in within a certain distance will be protected. So obviously a fridge is hard to put in a Faraday bag or a Faraday cage, and that would take some really weird kind of decorations to try to fit that in there normally, because most of these kind of events we're not going to have any kind of warning about. A CME, we will have some warning before everything goes down, but at that point, that's going to be even worse when that happens, and that is a when, it's not an if. Every 440 years we have one on average. It's been about 151 or 152. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. You will not only save $50 off per device, so if you want to outfit 2 cars or 2 cars in a house, it will be $100 off. Or if you get 3 devices, $150. If you get 4, $200. And that is also going to stack on top of any sale they're doing. So if they're doing a $30 off sale, that will be $80. And such. So make sure to go check it out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. That will also kick us back a commission. That helps us reinforce the growth of our channel and helps us financially. So thank you, everybody, for doing so, and appreciate everybody that already has it. Anybody here that has it can attest to how great of a company they are. SeaWorld denies creating hybrid Jurassic World orcas in mating program. SeaWorld has denied claims that they created hybrid Jurassic World-style orcas before their mating program was ended. It comes after the former orca trainer, John Hargrove, alleged the popular attraction was trying to produce more whales as tourist attractions. It says that he claims that a subspecies of orca that would never cross paths in the wild were forced to mate when the park still had a breeding program. It said Hargrove, who worked at the attraction for 20 years, is most known for his role in the bombshell documentary Blackfish, which investigated the deaths caused by captive orca Tilikum, which I believe did it kill more than one person? I believe that took out one of its trainers, and then, do you know, Dex? I thought it was at least more than one.
I know of one. I don't know if it was more than one, but yeah, it was a big deal when it happened.
It said investigated the deaths caused by the captive orca. So I feel like it's 2 at least. Either way, it says the former trainer compared the park to the movie Jurassic World, which tells the fictional story of hybrid dinosaurs. That is exactly what we did at SeaWorld. He recently told The Sun, the main takeaway with creating a hybrid orca is that you truly have no idea what you're created because they don't exist in nature. So all things are possible. To be honest, it doesn't sound unbelievable whatsoever. If they were able to somehow take one animal and get the stuff from it into another and made it, I think they would do it. Of course they would. But that is kind of freaky. If they did two totally different kinds of orcas, they could make some savage, crazy, big blue raptor, hybrid. This is not even the craziest thing that I've heard is even going on right now. Jurassic World, speaking of it, we have covered many, hypotheses of them doing it right now and them talking about trying to bring back extinct animals with DNA and gene editing. So this doesn't surprise me at all. As far as regular breeding of 2 kind of off species, I think they would do it, especially if it went well, they would tell everybody. If it didn't, they would just hide it. SeaWorld has had kind of a bunch of scandals, actually, at least in the last 15 years. But I've never been there. Have you? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure it's a very cool place, but of course they have had their ups and downs. And then Musk has to meet Twitter data demand on potential investors. Dex, do you want to go over this one?
Yeah, so as this court case continues to evolve, we're going to get more and more information. And this one particular one is sort of one that Twitter is winning on. Part of their ask and their demands is that Elon has to reveal who the investors are. So something that he had never really done, never wanted to do. He kept that private. So apparently they're demanding that he turn that over, and that will probably be coming out of this court case. So we may be seeing very soon who else was in on the deal. There was obviously a lot of speculation as to who, and a couple people may have made public statements that they were in on it. Some people had speculated Ellison and other folks had ponied up money. So we'll find out, I guess, as this rolls out. But it's sort of, on one hand, it's a loss, I guess, to Musk and a win for the corporation in this suit, because that's what they're asking for. So we'll see how he goes about revealing that.
To be honest, I just want to see Twitter, have something happen to where they get something handed to them and change their ways and stop, I guess, policing people so biased. But I bet
that doesn't happen until after the month of November. Yeah, you would think so. Conveniently.
Too, right? Conveniently. In December, it will be free speech. In October, it will be freedom of reach. And then we have President B details 10,000 student loan debt forgiveness for borrowers making under $125,000 a year. It says, speaking at the White House on Wednesday, President B said that borrowers earning less than $125,000 a year would have $10,000 in student loan debt forgiven. For those who have Pell Grants, $20,000 in student loan debt will be canceled. What does everybody think about this? By the way, I've seen big people kind of chime in on this. I know that Ben, Mr. Shapiro said that he said, "Hi, I have a controversial idea. Why don't people that don't want debt don't pull out debt? Or if they don't think they can afford it, don't get a loan." Coming from him, who has probably had everything paid for as far as growing up, it's harder to take that from somebody like that. Coming from somebody who, grew up with absolutely nothing. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't get stuck in the whole loan thing. I know that we have tons of Foogle fam that are in their 60s. We talked about a prior story, and there was a ton of people in their 60s, and they still had debt. Do you guys have student debt? Is this going to be helpful? Is this going to improve your approval rating for him because of little things like this. And I guess it's not a little thing, but who ends up paying for this, Dex? Doesn't this have to come out?
Yeah, some people have estimated that this is somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 billion in costs for them to pull off. So yeah, we're all going to pay for it. And it's one of those things, like, I kind of talked with some people I know that actually have this debt, and it's like, well, they don't necessarily agree with it, but if they're going to have to pay for it in a different way, then I guess they're going to benefit from it. It's just not the ideal way of going about this, in their opinion, right? And then there's, of course, those that are in favor of it, that are like, yeah, get me out of this debt, and I'll take any help I can get. And, it's unfortunate because some people, they go down a path, they get in a career, they get enticed into, education, which is a good thing fundamentally. But I think ultimately, and this is my opinion, part of the problem is the high cost of education, not just the fact that you take out a loan. I mean, taking out a loan for your education is not a bad thing when you're going to work for you get your whole lifetime to work, and you can pay that off usually fairly quickly in the beginning of your career, in theory. But it doesn't work that way, because now all of a sudden, to get this education that used to be a reasonable price is now an astronomical price. And the education is not necessarily as good as it used to be, or probably most people here would probably say it's not at all. So I kind of look at this as like, why are we making the public, and this, again, my opinion, why are we making the public pay for this when we could literally go back to these schools and say, drive the cost back down, because it's ridiculous what they charge. And that's just coming from a father who has kids in college. I know how expensive it is, and it's ridiculous.
And and you already went through the rigmarole. A lot of parents ended up, ponying up money or put money aside, and that's why it is very smart to start putting just anything aside. What's funny is I saw a TikTok video of this gentleman who was, I think, 25 years old, and he kind of went through his story of how he said, he comically talked about how he went to school, did all of this, had his debt, basically got out. His dream was to move out, and each step he said, he's like, oh, I'll move out and get my own place. And then he shows the average, price for a one-bedroom apartment. It's $1,800. And then he goes, well, then I'll just go buy food. And then he showed the average food prices. And then he goes, okay, I guess I'm moving in back with mom and dad. And then he finally gets back out, and then he says, oh, and then there's a recession. He's like, okay, mom and dads, I'll say hi again. And basically talking about how he's moved out twice and then moved back in. And this was a response to somebody saying, what the hell is wrong with 18 to 25-year-olds? I do get it, because 18 to 25-year-olds, they're actually, getting out of school in this environment. It is not easy. I do see what is going on. I mean, I'm 35, and when I was that age, you could find a room for $300 and share a house. And if you wanted your own apartment, you could get one for $600 to $900. And that was relative to what the wages have not gone up extreme. Even the places that are paying $15 an hour, especially I was in the food industry for a little bit. Those places are saying, oh, well, then you're going to get less tips, or they've tried to make it so it's not any more than what it was. Even the $15 an hour, if you do the math on that, that's not enough to live anywhere in Washington. I mean, it's really, really, really bad. You've got to move out to a dumpster with, a population of 1 to even get by. And this isn't going to help. They get their debt half or a quarter canceled. $10,000 right now in college is not that much. What is that? A couple quarters, depending on the school, or if it's a community college, maybe a year. I don't know. What is college cost now?
You're about right. Yeah, a year at a community college, probably in the 10,000 range.
Yeah, so that's
or not even state school, not the big schools. No, the private schools, the big schools, all that stuff, a heck of a lot more. But yeah, it's ridiculous.
Hundreds of thousands if you go private. And then we have Heatwave in G's country is the most severe ever recorded in the world. That's what they are putting out now. It says the long spell of extreme hot and dry weather is affecting energy, water supplies, and food productions across G's country. It says low rainfall and record-breaking heat across much of Xi's country are having widespread impacts on people, industry, and farming. River and reservoir levels have fallen, factories have shut because of electricity shortages, and huge areas of crops have been damaged. The situation could have worldwide repercussions, causing further disruption to supply chains and exacerbating the global food crisis. So, whether you believe what is happening in this world or not, what is being told to the supply chain kind of middlemen is they're not getting loads, they're not getting boats, they're not getting things, and they're saying, oh, this factory's closed because they had to turn off because of electricity, or they had to do it because of gas, or this or that. We are watching a slow motion kind of, end of the world movie. Unfortunately, this has been, I could name probably 5 or 6 movies that have had this exact plot of how it started. And in the beginning of the movie where they have commentary saying, in the beginning, there was shortages in electricity and, and then we couldn't get gas, so we would all move in together and blah, blah, blah. Now we're living it. So whether this may, whatever theory you have on why it's happening, this is at least what's being wrote down in history, and that is what is happening to anyone that's not in the elite class. So this is hurting everybody, and it could very well get much, much worse, especially if any kind of conflict starts. If we do start a conflict with Xi's country and Taiwan is out of the picture, I think Nate at Canadian Prepper, he actually put a pretty good video out on basically how a lot of things will disappear as far as Walmart's will not be able to function without Xi's country. A ton of that stuff. I mean, I think it would be surprising if everything stopped coming from Xi's country. People would be amazed on what is actually made there. Let alone Taiwan. Between the two, they manufacture a ton of stuff. Also, another question and a theory that a few people have been knocking around is, what if these factories are actually not turned off right now? What if they have kind of covertly switched over to kind of wartime production? We know Vlad actually did that, but it's much more public. What if, they're saying, hey, we're not going to make Q-tips and, cotton swabs. Now we're going to be making tanks. What if that is something that's being secretly done? That is a theory, of course, not a fact. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Stephen McMahon, what about those who paid back student loans? Do we get money back? That's a great point. So what about us that spent years paying the student loans off? Do we get money back? Do you guys get a stipend? Do you get a, what do you call it, a stimulus college check for getting that paid off over 20, 30 years? Frank Silva, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Mafia. Zippy Moons, will watch replay tomorrow. I'm back. Oh, I see. You put back. So I would say, we'll watch replay tomorrow. I'm back. Jesus the Model has subscribed. Patrick Ferguson, thank you for subscribing 17 minutes ago. And Stephanie, thank you for subscribing. And Wilson B, thank you for subscribing as well. I appreciate that. Dolly Fergus, thank you for subscribing. The Fallen Slave Enslaves Us All, thank you for subscribing a few seconds ago. Everybody that just popped in and hit that subscribe button, thank you. While you're at it, if you can, about 5 buttons over, there is a like button and then a share button in the middle. Kind of make a like, share, subscribe sandwich. I bet you never heard it described like that. All right, and if you have not already, if you do want to get yourself prepped, we have a really good solution for that. If you go over to marfooglenews.com/prep, you can find long-term survival food from My Patriot Supply. These are freeze-dried foods that are sealed in MREs that are then double sealed, depending on the package. They have 72-hour kits. They have 1-month kits. They have 3-month kits. Essentially, what would come in one of those kits is everything you need: lunch, breakfast, and dinner. That is freeze-dried foods. All of the moisture is removed. Most of all of the flavor is contained. You add water and cook it, and boom, it's almost, in some cases, it is like you are eating food that is fresh from the store. That is the really great part about freeze-drying foods, is that it is a process that keeps a ton of the flavor, and it definitely holds a very long time, 25 plus year shelf life. People are actually doing this not only for survival reasons, but also for investment reasons. And for later on, if we do go into a hyperinflation period, you might see bread that is $80, $90. That sounds crazy. But if you look at what happened to Venezuela, there was, I want to say it was even worse, but if that does happen, you will have food that you can eat instead of going to the grocery store. A lot of people are also doing it because just 3 years ago, these same foods, these same MREs and same freeze-dried foods were a third of the cost. By that pattern, in another 3 years, if you bought it 3 years ago, right now they would still have 22 plus years on the shelf as far as being good, and you could still eat them for 20 more years. But you would have saved 2/3 of the cost. If that goes by that pattern, in another 3 years, they could triple in price again. That's the guess that most people are having, and that's why people are investing in them. Now, the 3-month kit is still $250 off. Remember, that is the largest discount they have ever done. And on top of that $250 off for a 3-month kit, that is also going to help us as well. So not only are you getting something that could save your life, you are helping your favorite channel, and you're getting the largest discount they've ever done. That's marfooglenews.com/prep. And we'll talk about it in a little bit here as far as why Europe is buying millions of iodine tablets. This is also a source for you to do that. Now, I think that it is a good thing to be, just to have kind of your bases covered. But I don't necessarily recommend getting iodine tablets, but if you do, I think it's a smart idea. We have some that were given to us as part of a package, so I think that we're pretty good on them. But as far as they sell those as well. So if you do want to get those, marfooglenews.com/prep, that will be covering your bases. If we do have a nuclear event, that of course absorbs a lot of the bad stuff after you take it. All right, and then Dex, let's talk about Honda considering decoupling supply chain from Xi's country. That's huge. This is Japan basically saying, screw you.
Exactly. And, as the tensions build and continue to build between the countries over there in Asia, specifically Japan being one of them that we've talked quite a bit about, how they've shifted things with their position as a country, and they've not been thrilled with what Xi has been doing, especially with the last round of drills that came into their territories. So this is not a surprise, but it's also kind of a strong statement too, coming from Honda Motor Company, saying like they're trying to update and they're significantly looking to change how their supply chain works so they can have less dependence on Xi and what they can do to eliminate the need for the supplies that they're getting and that they're sourcing through Xi. So kind of a big statement for them, and obviously could have a huge impact on the revenue that's generated in Xi's country for the supplies that they get through their supply chain as they build their vehicles in Japan.
Yeah, well, and for them to do this would be a huge step. To possibly stop doing this to a country like that, that's huge. Honda Motor Company Limited is considering building a separate supply chain that would reduce its dependence on Xi's country. That just shows you right there that something may be going on. Watch Japan. That's what I am saying. Many big Japanese companies have built extensive production hubs in Xi's country, but have recently seen output snarled by the CV-related lockdowns. There are also deepening worries about the impact of tensions between the U.S. and Xi's country. Nearly 40% of Honda's automobile production took place in Xi's country in the last financial year. It does say that Honda would continue to keep its supply chain in Xi's country for the domestic market in the world's second largest economy, while building a separate one for markets outside. It says it did not say where. They did not say where this information has come from. All right, and then we have Vlad. Okay, this is where we get into the stuff that if you are anxious and you don't like any of the stuff that's going on, tune out. If you don't like watching scary movies, then don't watch. You guys are all adults. You have the right to decide on what you think of any of these stories. I'm not telling you how to think or what to think. We are asking questions and connecting things, connecting possible dots that are there. By the way, Be Real Beast, did you get my super chat? God bless. I think, is that what I'm reading? I think, yeah. Zippy Moons, thank you. Stephen McMahon, thank you. Christy, Battleborn Believer, thank you for the support. It says 52 years old, 58,000 still owed. Does not make me like him more. Its money comes from somewhere. It's not free. Any exceptions if they become disabled? Yeah, that I don't know. Mr. Pazuzu took her Miss Pazuzu took her trip to Taiwan to let the leaders know when the conflict is slated to start. Stephen McMahon says this September. Global Impact says Mafia for life. Thank you, Global Impact. I appreciate that. And FG, again, thank you. A lot of people said, a lot of people have dates out there, and I don't know about the dates, but I do think that we are close. That's my opinion. Vlad attempts to prevent Zelensky from joining UN Security Council meeting remotely. Dex, you covered this one, and then I'll load the next one up here.
Absolutely. So this is kind of interesting. So there was a Security Council meeting, and it was done over, obviously over some sort of Zoom. And, Vlad was literally trying, or their group was literally trying to prevent UKR's president from coming in to the program. They were demanding it not happen. So, even on the digital or geopolitical front battlefield, you could sort of see what's going on here and see that how they're just going at each other no matter what it takes. It's not just on the field. It's, even in this scenario where they're trying to literally prevent him. Now, keep in mind, this is, UN. It's not like NATO. NATO, obviously, Vlad has no stake in it, but he is part of UN just like every other country and probably has a much bigger stake than most other countries. So they feel they have the ability to wave a wand or at least, pound a fist on the table and get something from it. So yeah, this was, probably more so some showboating or chest beating. But again, it's kind of, interesting to say the least about the antics that are going on between these countries in addition to the conflict.
Yeah, it's a constant tit for tat. It is back and forth. It is happening almost every day. Thank you guys, surpassing 4,000. Appreciate everybody that's here. Let's see, how long is that? There we go. If you have comments on this, put them down below. Remember to comment and share and like. I appreciate everybody that does. And let's see here. Vladian rockets take the lives of 22 at train station in UKR's Independence Day. So remember, we covered about a week ago, we covered all sorts of kind of independent pieces that said they believed something would happen on that day. Remember, we said that they believed this would happen on the Independence Day because it has significance to them. Well, now they say that these Vladian rockets have taken the lives of at least 22 people. You would think it would actually be more than that. I mean, the from what they said happened, it said that 22 people have perished and dozens wounded in a Vlad rocket strike on UKR train station. President Vladimir Zelensky said, as his nation marked the anniversary of its independence from Soviet rule. Mr. Zelensky warned yesterday of the risk of repugnant Vladian provocations on Independence Day, which by chance was also 6 months since the Vladian forces invaded UKR, touching off Europe's most devastating conflict since WW2. In a video address to the United Nations Security Council, Mr. Zelensky said that the rockets had hit the train in the small town of Chaplin, about 145 kilometers west of Donetsk. I never say that right, I think. Mr. Zelensky had initially said that at least 15 people were perished and 50 more were wounded. 4 carriages were on fire after the strike, he said. Chaplin is our pain today. As of the moment, there are 22 that have not made it. Mr. Zelensky said later in his evening video address, adding that UKR would make Vlad take responsibility for everything it had done. We will without any doubt evict the invaders from our land. No trace of this evil will remain in our free UKR. We will see.
So this was the message. This was the message that Vlad was trying to stop in the video conference, right? So it's kind of, on one hand, you've got them saying you can't speak, and then on the other hand, as soon as they speak, they come out and say this is what happened. So, when UKR's president made that statement, that was to the UN in a video conference.
So they were trying to stop it, but they did not. And then Vladian proxy leader was taken, perished forcefully by a car boom boom as UKR vows to fight to the end. Dex, you want to cover this? This sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah, here we go again. Just very similar to the other, maybe not as high a profile, but right on the heels of where as they called it, Vlad's brain, that gentleman's daughter was taken in. We're not sure if it was directly or indirectly, but it happened. Well, now a leader for Vlad, or basically a proxy leader that was in charge of a town over in UKR that's obviously occupied by them. So that's why he's sort of proxily in charge there. So again, another automobile boom boom has gone off and taken another one. So this, I don't know if we're going to see like this is going to become the new norm. Like we're going to be reporting on this all the time. I think we've seen maybe 3 of these so far, maybe more. I know I seem to recall we reported one back in the early days, or it was suspected because it was like a car fire kind of thing many months ago. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. These are right on the heels of each other. It's a leader of a territory that was put in by Vlad. So we'll see what happens with it. Obviously, these types of attacks get a lot of publicity. They're very visual. They're very shocking to the people that are around when it happens.
This is out of a movie. We are in a spy movie right now. Like, this is absolute insanity. This is out of the Bourne Legacy or James Bond. The kind of thing, it was put under the seat, and, I don't know if it was one of those turn the ignition and it goes boom, but it also would probably put fear in a lot of other leaders. They're probably going to have somebody sent out to start their car instead of them. I would hate to have that job. Hey, go start my car. I quit. I would quickly find another position.
Don't they have remotes for that now?
Oh, remote start? Yeah, that would be a good thing to do.
I would be relying on it for sure.
Oh my gosh. I think we know what to do. Start a business selling remote start in Vlad's country. That is $1 billion idea. There's only been 2, but we'll put a graph and we'll say, well, here was 1, here was 2, and then just put a line like this and go, this is where we're going to be in 2 weeks from now. So it's up to you. Remote Start by Banco. All right, and then if you have not known already, my show is actually running on an energy generator. The reason why I suggest this is I think that most people do not have backup power. I do believe that it doesn't have to be the end of the world for power to be valuable. Obviously, everyone here has gone through a power outage of some sort, whether it be a couple hours or a couple days, or even some in California, a couple weeks. This is a solar generator, which means it is, one, powered by the sun, two, does not require $5 a gallon gas, and three, there is little to no maintenance on this. There's no motors, there's no noxious fumes coming out, and it is expandable. When you usually buy a gas generator, you've got to basically have a ton of fuel sitting around. If you can't just store barrels of fuel in your apartment or on your property, then this is definitely a good solution. On top of that, this is absolutely silent. There is no sound to it. It is absolutely silent. You could put your ear right to it and not hear anything. Why that's important is because if SHTF happens or a serious event like Katrina, of course, if we ever had martial law, you would not want to have a huge loud generator going. Everyone within blocks would know that you are the only one with power. This is also great because it can be expanded to basically be customized as much power as you need, or at the length of time that you need to power for. You can do that very easily. Each battery is 1,000 watt hours. Each battery is extremely powerful, but if you want, you can actually stack them in their own footprint, no external cables, going up to 5 batteries, and then you can also connect up to 96. So again, total of 96 batteries. You could virtually make a wall of these. What is great and what is better than their competitors is when you are stacking them vertically, it basically has the connections on the bottom and the top of each battery, which means they just connect directly. There's no external huge cables going out. On top of that, they make this modular. There's mods like the supercharger mod, which goes in the middle, which can actually triple the amount of input. So instead of 4 panels, you can actually do 12. That is a mod that you can put in place multiple times. So it's a really amazing system. It is one of the most flexible. It is a great solution for this. It is not cheap. These are an actual solution for a huge problem. And any prepper that really wants to do this, I would highly recommend, if you go to Harbor Freight and get yourself a cheap generator, you get what you pay for. For this is made with some of the highest quality materials in the world, and it's also made to last. This is also portable. You can take it to job sites, use your drills with it, take it camping, take it to your cabin, wherever you want to go. If you want to bug out, you will have power. It has lots of great plugins. It has USB. It has USB-C. It's awesome. So again, make sure to go over and check out the packages. Upwards of $170 off on the packages when you use the code Marfoogle. Go to marfooglenews.com/energy. By the way, make sure to go check out their solar panels. The greatest part, you can go with theirs. I definitely recommend their folding portable panels that can be taken with you. But you can also charge it by your wall, your car, and you can also get the panels from elsewhere. If you want to go shop on panels, go ahead. But the main part is the high quality base unit. All right, that's marfooglenews.com/energy. That also helps us. They send us a commission. They give you a discount. Everyone wins. All right, to our main story. Moldova ships in radiation pills as fighting rages near Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in UKR. So on top of this, we have talked about Sweden and Poland and other places. The governments there are stocking up on iodine tablets. And this is actually something that's been going on for a while. But now Moldova, which, funny enough, this was also the place that was on the map. Dex, do you remember when the Belarusian president showed the map, the picture leaked or was released of the battle map, and it was a current map that was obviously, a 15-foot hand-done map, a printed map that was current. It had all of the U.S. troops and where they were, and it had arrows, and from that map you could see that in their plan, it looked like they were going to take UKR and then take Moldova. That's why people were going, whoa, whoa, whoa. They're going to go past UKR and into Moldova. This was a huge, big thing at the very beginning of this. Now, Moldova, that same place, is the one doing this. Dex, they have imported 1 million iodine pills. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, this isn't the first we've heard. Like when this event kicked off, everybody was in fear initially of what was going to happen from just a potential tactical point of view, right? But then we had the troops that moved in near Chernobyl. And a lot of people got worried that something was going to happen there. And now we have almost the same thing, except this is an active plant. This is one of the largest plants in Europe. And, we were just reporting, I think it was yesterday, we were talking about how there's, large caliber rounds that have gone through the walls. There's, electric generators or transformers that have been hit by mortars that are there at that plant. So this plant is actually, pretty much in the thick of things right now, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change. And when we showed those maps, it really showed, like, of course, there's going to be a detrimental effect if something bad, catastrophic happened right there in UKR, but all of that radiation was going to flow over into Europe, basically landing on all the Baltic states, all those states that are right there along the border, the new NATO countries, if you want to call them that. So, one of these being Moldova is obviously, again, ramping up. I'm sure they've done this before, but right now they're investing heavily. They want to make sure their population has, this much needed, I don't call it medicine, but it is, it's iodine. It's something that you would take, and it helps prevent your thyroid. It basically fills your thyroid with iodine so that your thyroid doesn't fill up with radiation. It's only one part of the radiation puzzle. It's not you take a pill and everything's good, but it's certainly one that is pretty nasty that you want to prevent if you can. So by taking that, you can certainly help stave off a lot of the other things that come with that exposure to radiation when it happens.
And now there's videos, supposed videos of a ton of tanks at Zaporizhzhia at this nuclear power plant. Dex, I don't think I sent you the link for that, did I? There was a video that contained tanks, or newly released, or that's what people were saying. And it was a bunch of tanks basically posted up at Zaporizhzhia. I don't know if it's confirmed, but I did see that, and that was either this morning or last night or yesterday. So I just wonder, obviously we've talked about the theory that they are using it as a shield, or they are, basically using it as an umbrella, knowing that nobody will strike it. At the same time, UKR is saying that they're doing it, and then Vlad says that UKR is striking it. So, by the way, if Vlad is saying that they're striking it anyways, why would he put his troops there? That was one thing I was thinking about. It says shelling has intensified during UKR's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the largest kind in Europe, with the UN warning fighting could lead to disaster. That was a quote from the UN. Now Moldova, which borders UKR, is 480 kilometers from the power station, has shipped in iodine pills donated by Romania to be taken in case of a nuclear emergency. So some say that these are actually going to be handed out. That is kind of a freaky thing. And they're going to be dispersed to local shelters and things so people can get them almost immediately. This is not the only country, and this isn't the only Baltic state that has done this. So we will see what's going on, or the former Baltic states. So we will follow this, and we will keep watch on this subject. If you are new to our channel, remember we are going to try to cover everything that we talked about here, and we usually follow each subject all the way through. We also archive this on our website on marfooglenews.com. Nira Dixon, it looks like you are new. Dolly Fergus, The Fallen Enslaves Us All. Again, if you're new here, remember, make sure to hit that subscribe button and then go to notifications all. If you don't press that, you very well could be unsubbed. Again, they'll do it I think from what I've polled is most people didn't have that all selected, and that does help. But of course, it's not set by default. So Stephen McMahon, thank you again. I appreciate your support. Thank you, everybody that has popped in so far. Amanda Boyari, Kim O'Donnell, Recalcitrant, Michael Jardin, Bitter Critter. Thank you. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. And thank you, Mark Houston. Thank you for the super thanks. I appreciate that. Ladybug, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for the super thanks on the last show there. Ladybug, Netty2550, thank you for doing the super thanks. Of course, super thanks are actually done on the replays. Andreas Binder, Billy Leather, Carol Quanstrom. Thank you, and thank you. Also, everybody that just popped in tonight, Global Impact, I appreciate that. Thank you. Be Real Beast, Zippy Moons, I hope you did stay as long to watch this on the replay. Thank you. To all my replay watchers that are watching and drinking coffee right now, thank you. Stephen McMahon, Daniel Wagner, thank you so much. And Wendy Marie. Thank you. Hey, Foogle fam. Let's see here. Hey, Foogle fam, I could really just use some prayers. And I'm so grateful I have this site to come to truly see people loving on and supporting each other and accepting each other for who they are. Thank you all. Wendy Marie, again, I am praying for you. Again, I hope everything's okay. And then Stephen McMahon, Christy, Battleborn Believer, thank you, everybody who has attended tonight. Thank you. Dex, let's go over the web-only content. It sounds like we have a fiery section down there. A lot. Yeah, lot is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got a couple of things I want to talk about real quick that I don't have on there, and I'll try to get, if not there, we'll get them updated in the next show, and people can go pay attention to see what's happening here. But apparently there's been a little bit of activity and some injuries from our soldiers in the Hey Siri country. So, and my phone is going off when I say that, but if you know what country I'm speaking of when I say that, so the yes country over in ME. So there may be some stuff kicking off there. Or it could just be an isolated incident. We're gonna monitor it. It didn't happen just now, but it happened today. So I didn't actually get an article that we could show you on the screen for that. So I want to make sure everybody's aware of that, because some people were talking about it in chat. So thank you, Foogle fam, for bringing that up. Head over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for the show. Scroll down past all the news to this overflow content. And matter of fact, right before it, as Adam mentioned earlier, the video that he was talking about with the tanks, I found that a moment ago. I got it put on the website. So you'll see that there, the article that contains the video. You can see the source. You can judge it for yourself. But it's right there. The rest of the story is also right there under this overflow section. So, you're going to get a lot of the updates that are going on with the political stuff, which is just going to probably get even more crazier as we move further into the rest of this year. You know what's coming around the corner. There's some lawsuits going on with Whole Foods. The First Lady has got a rebound. You can find out, and I'm not talking basketball. Some crazy stuff happening with some people at a Waffle House and a helicopter, and lots of other things, including some updates from space. There's some pictures coming out, more pictures coming out from the Webb, the James Webb Telescope, and even some Elon updates as well. So if you're looking for that, you're looking for all the other information, pretty much an entire show's worth of stuff happening down there that we just couldn't get to, or it's not something we can normally cover here. It's there. Go to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down till you find this overflow section, and you'll see everything else we put together. And again, if you're on YouTube, just open that description and click the show notes link. It's really simple to get to.
Okay, very creepy one down there. We're twins who married twins. Is that even right? Think about that. It says our kids are siblings and cousins. Is that just off? I'm sorry. And there's all these shows that talk about these weird kind of couples and like the twins that are dating twins. And I just want to remind you, when you're looking at all these history shows that show the switching of the roles and all these weird relationships, they're normalizing very unnormal things. Okay, first of all, if your kids are siblings, they're brothers and sisters and cousins, I don't think that's okay. That's my opinion. Who can get behind that? I don't know. I just think that's your uncle is your... that's just, I don't know. That's some Steve Wilkos Springer stuff, if you ask me. But
there's got to be a DNA question there too, right? Because identical twins typically, I think that's the whole point of them being identical, is they carry the same DNA. So I wonder what happens when twins marry twins, and then the children. Do they look the same? Yeah. Do they have like their, even though they come from two different parents, do they have the same DNA, which would be a subset or an off, spring DNA from their parents, right? Have you seen where the woman will marry twin brothers and then they switch off and stuff? It's like, this is not okay. This is. Oh no. No. It's just not. I'm sorry. No. I can never get behind that. So, all right. Well, thank you, Dex. Thank you for your service tonight. I appreciate you. Much love. Great job. Also, when you go to that main website on the right side, all of the affiliate links are there. Also, the Cars for Hero link is there if you have a older or used vehicle that you are no longer using and want it to go towards a hero, a vet, or any kind of, again, most of them go to veterans. Also, some go to police officers or fire department, firefighters or EMTs, or somebody who is truly in need that has done service for the community. Go over to carsforheroes.org. The link is right there. The Foogle fam in the last week has donated 9+ cars. It's probably over that now. That was yesterday's update. So thank you guys for being a part of that. Thank you as well. And then I believe $1,500 in raffle tickets have been sold for that beautiful classic truck that they are raffling off. There's only 500 raffle tickets in total. That means your chance is 1 in 500, which that's pretty good odds as far as a raffle goes, and especially for the prize being that beautiful classic truck that, oof. All right. And Dex, again, you have a good night. We will see you. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. By the way, Stephen McMahon can't help but think that the Vlad thing has been choreographed. D-Live, thank you, and thank you. Sean Penmanrod, Light of Vibes, Deep State of Mind, Priscilla R., Maui Racing Realtor, thank you for making almost every show. WIS Jen, JDC Runchman, Deep State of Mind, MC, M-Key, Mucky, thank you. Global Impact, thank you for the lemons over there. Chewy Weather. Renegade Petey, thank you. Losing their damn mind. People buying iodine and losing their damn. People buying iodine and losing their damn mind. People buying iodine and losing their damn mind. Damn. Losing their damn mind. People buying iodine and losing their damn mind. Everywhere we won't go, that's going down. Got that renegade PD living there to go. Everyone gonna ride and roll. Carolyn Ricochet, a fireball. I said, Georgia Newhouse and Mama Sears. Bartley the Dogs and Charlie Alistair. Jody, you know when hell she would die go. Sala and the Major J. Poe, Angel Webster and George Washington, Anita Torres and Butland the Ghost, and Aunt Jenny and the rest of those toes. One Son Observer and Ferrigno, a for a Gino, a Polly Ashore, the Major and stealth mode. I thank you all for making the show. Losing their damn mind. Buying iodine and losing their damn mind.
someday and give to grace. KT cleans a lot and Charlie Alistair. JD Crunch Man and Peter Creator. Wendy Marie. Wendy Marie. Montana, Chance Paladin, Deja, Hanja, Banja, Ayla, with the Roger Cunningham, Donna Honey, Tim T, and Mr. Dan. Hey now, with the Seeking Truth, Eric Thomas, and KT cleans a lot too. Oh, Dine, oh, Mine, Amy VR, and me and R. Now you dine and losing their damn mind. People buying iodine and losing their damn mind. People buying and losing their damn mind. Human says that the Amish cracked the codes for the EMP shield, or EMP attack. Yes, the Amish will do just fine. In fact, I don't have any Amish settlements nearby, but if you do, I would highly recommend saying hi after that happens. Architect and the Angel Webster, everybody up on their own self with a Sheba Dago, Joe that you know, and that nature love, and the Shella Aiken, Charlie don't serve, and the self mode, oh, don't hurt. Big shout out to the mods. Make sure you are thanking them for keeping it peaceful. Lisa R. Hall, thank you. Trinity, CJ Blaze, J Stone 78, Bones, Rip Curl. Let's start a fresh one. All right, let's delete that one.